Bruh, 50 dudes come out. I'm not lying, bruh, with knob carries. Like, choke. I'm like, man, like, who said this? I'm like, what the bruh, what? I always used to think Derek Watts would walk into my flat, which would be covered in all sorts of booze, paraphernalia, sin, and he's gonna go like, oh, this is the worst I've seen, I'm retiring. I very rapidly, after stopping drinking, I had a crazy run where I was like, Tully's Diary, finished my masters, got a job at Supersport, like within 6 months, it was like, dude. And then also I was like, because I said, I own it, like I used to say stupid things, I used to be obnoxious. I was like, you've got so much going for you. The last thing you want is to drink and then ruin it. I want nothing to do with this because my issue is they signed it in the name of every Bishop's old boy. And I'm telling you, and this is why I'm one of the reasons I believe this. Bruh, Bishop's old boys, like a lot of them just don't, like they don't care. But point being, they don't have a problem with the pride flag.
Comrades, we hang out with actor, content creator, comedian, professional Boykie, and friend of the show, Anton Taylor, my man.
My brother.
How you doing, my dog?
Oh, bro. Honestly, blessed to be here. Like, I'm obviously a big fan of your guys' work.
My man.
I'm a big fan of you.
My man.
And to be in the studio with the team.
My man.
This is, I've been waiting
My
for
man.
the call up. I've been
Big
waiting.
respect. You know what? You're the first one we have who's not a journalist or a politician.
Are you serious?
Yeah. We're gonna have fun. And who is the best person in the country to have fun with? And then you came dressed up like you came dressed up like a pimp, a porn star, and the Boykie. Like I mess with that.
There's a potential, well, not really pimping. I think I'd not do that, but the porn is always an option for a career.
Shout out.
Yeah.
How's it going, bro?
Bro, it's been going good. It's been going good.
It's been going good.
It's been a busy
the
year. It's been a busy year. Like I'd say the dominant thing of the year has been my journey into comedy. But I'd say I'm in a good wicket, getting married, making plans.
Killing the game.
Yeah, so life's in a good, got a thick moustache, so life's good.
Hence the porn star.
Yeah, exactly. And that's more like, and something I would consider is drug dealing. Like, especially if it were like legal, I'd love to deal recreational drugs. But so porn, drug dealing, that is the direction that maybe we see. Or politicians is probably, that's a bit too scummy for me.
Oh, for real?
Selling drugs, being in porn, ethical. Politics, I'm not sure. With respect, I know we have friends, and I'm not talking about the politicians I'm friends with. I'm talking about your opponents, who I'm sure you agree are the lowest creatures.
Respect. My dog, I met you like, I can't even remember the year, but you were busy with the Anton Taylor Show.
Dude.
I was sure that I'm going to be on TV. I was like, I'm going to be on it was ETV, wasn't it?
ETV, bro.
It was ETV. Rob van Vieren called me out the blue and went, yo, I've got this dude, Anton Taylor, is putting together a show. Was he directing?
He was the director.
Yeah, I'm directing. Oh, Rob van Vieren had directed my one-man show.
Yes.
And then he was like, yo, I think you'd be solid for the thing.
Yeah.
And then went and auditioned at your thing. And the final take, I was eating a baguette. And it was like one of the dopest shots. Like, I don't even remember what happened.
Yeah.
But it's like take a shot and then speaking to camera. And then everything started falling apart. I was like, I'm getting this gig. And then nothing happened. What the happened?
Bro, that is a flash from the past.
Yeah.
So a company came to me and they were like, dude, it was like, you hear these starlets, they go to Hollywood and some producers like, you're going to be a star. And I mean, no, I've known nothing against the production team. That wasn't their fault. They were like, dude, you're the man. Okay. And we want to do the Anton Taylor Show. Okay. Now I'm in my early 20s, mid 20s at that time. I'm like, and they're like, you're going to be a star, bro. Like, you're going to be a household name. Okay, so I'm like, okay, here we go. So Rob, me, we worked so hard. It was on a pilot series or a pilot episode. I can't remember exactly what it was. But we were like, this is going to be publicly.
Dude, I showed up and there was There was Bonnie Mbuli there.
Dude,
Like, when I saw Bonnie Mbuli, I was like, oh, shit, this is...
you, Bonnie and Booley, Sivan Gessi, Rob van Vuren,
Bro.
Skalk Zadenhout was in one. Like, dude, it was popping. And the whole time I was like, oh, wow. Because it was my first. I've subsequently been disappointed numerous times in my life. I've come to understand rejection and heartbreak deeply. But so what happened was we poured our souls into it. And everyone, the production team, the guys who had said to me, you know, we're going to make it. And then we submitted to ETV. And they were like, cool, we're going to consider it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and like, bear in mind, I told my family, I'm like, guys, the Anton Taylor Show, it's gonna be, and I was like, yo, bro, this is this is deep, you know. And then there was like, okay, no, they just need a bit of time to consider it. And then the kind of my issue is that the communications just stopped. I was like, and then it's like a few months. And then I was like, oh, I'm sure they'll get to it.
It's a real thing when it comes to TV.
Bro, so I never got like a no or anything like that. But yeah, that's how it works.
It's a real thing when it comes to TV where you shoot this thing or you come with like a dope pitch and they're like, we love it. And then they're like, we gotta discuss amongst ourselves. We'll come back. And then 2 weeks later they're quiet. And then 3 weeks. And then after 6 months you're like,
I mean, that's what, you know what would be nice in this industry? People are just like, you know what? It's sorry, no. You know, and
we've changed our minds.
And actually, I once auditioned for a film with it. I signed an NDA, but it was like a massive South African actor. Yeah. Again. And I was like, my name, and I mean, this is so many times in my life. I'm a big daydreamer. I'm like, dude, we're going HBO. Okay. Yeah. And but to their credit, they sent reject. They were like, you're not our guy. And at least then that dream died.
At least it dies, dog. Versus it's 6 years later and you're like...
I'm still... Wow, the thing is, some of the skits that we did for the Anton Taylor Show have not aged well. I'll say that. There was one or two where I'm like, ooh, I hope this is in the vault. So I'm saying it now.
I'm gonna get cancelled.
I was a young man, okay? I was prepared. Dude, the single, and again, the single worst thing we did was like a Leon Schuster prank, okay? Yeah. And there was a glass window with the double screen, you know, mirror, whatever. And we were interviewing people for jobs to be my secretary. And I was playing this like chauvinistic guy, and I'm smoking Hubley or cigars, and then I'm like, I get a call from like my girlfriend, and then my wife comes in. Is like, so it's this whole thing. I'm not lying. I was like, I remember we were actually on just off Kloof Street. Yeah. I was like, guys, I don't have the emotional strength to trick people. Yeah. I went straight. I was drinking at that time. I was like, I need to go to I won't name the brand, but the bottle store. Bought myself a bottle of whiskey, all brown sherry, pumped it. Okay, I had to got drunk, and then we're doing this pranks. And then the thing is, you know, when you do pranks, everyone's like, ha 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 ha. You think, bruh, these poor ladies. The one lady was like, I got the train from Durbanville to come here. I told my family I might be getting a job. Oh. And then we give them like 300 Rand, like, ha ha. It's and so like only a few of them laughed. Most of them were like, just like really sad that we, dude, I still even bring it up now. Like there's it was deep and dark, bro. Those pranks.
Oh, snap. It's a side that we don't know about these pranks. Dude, like you were like rock and roll when you were young.
I was a wild. I was, bro, in matric, I was, okay, it sounds it's more manly than it sounds, and there's nothing wrong with not being, but anyway, I was a cheerleader, okay? The term one might use
Give us more information.
No, one might say a war cry leader. And I was 18, and my name then was Savage, okay, bro.
Oh, they called you Savage?
Yeah.
Oh, you were lit, dog. We've got evidence. UCT. I'm sitting with evidence of your days at UCT. You were problematic, dog. As soon as I get the video, where's the production? Where's the video?
Oh my word! You know, it's very hard for me to watch footage of myself.
I know it's the worst thing ever.
I can't even
I
recognize.
hate watching myself on this thing, but I will watch you with you. Take me through the 6s and 7s in UCT.
Dude. Okay, so we're going to get to the footage of me. This was the UCT I knew and I loved, okay? And
For real?
there you see me. That is, guys,
this is you,
that is
dog.
me covered in... Pause on that.
Wait.
That shot on me,
Yeah.
that's green vomit, bruh. That is I'm covered in vomit. That is people's food dye. That when I talk about people are like, I'm a savage. Bruh, were you chanded on? Okay.
Why? Why?
Now we start to unravel some deeper questions. What I want to point out is hundreds, thousands of people watching this and cheering.
Wait. So you knew beforehand that they're gonna puke on you?
Yeah, I signed up for it. It's fantastic. I offered myself. I was.
Why?
That's the why.
Why?
Let me just talk about bro, UCT in that time. So there was this event where you would run around.
I can't believe I paused. I'm sorry. I can't believe I paused on a guy. Is he wearing a nappy?
Yes, he is. And I think a lot of that it's a dress up, but let's just say I think those nappies get used. You know what I mean?
Please go on, my dog. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for disturbing you.
So at UCT there was this event called 6x7s where you run around, you do 7 laps, and then you drink 6 beers. Now I think originally it was more like ha. Then eventually, obviously, people vomit. Yeah. Then eventually people started saying, well, now we're going to drink food dye. Okay. And then I remember you'd have spaghetti. Yeah. Okay. And then sometimes the alphabet spaghetti, you know, so it's like letters coming out. Okay. Yeah. Now, what I think is the most interesting aspect of this culturally is not that people did this, right? But what was unusual about this is there would be an audience of like hundreds, maybe over 1,000. And like cheering you on like you're a gladiator. That's what... Because you go like, if you heard about it, you'd be like, bro, there's this weird subgroup. But this is like a massive group of students. And so I was always like involved in this. Obviously, you know, it's like, and I remember when I was head of the student government, okay, and I actually convinced them. I was like, look, it's going to happen. Let me facilitate it, okay? Now, what they didn't know was I made the Facebook group, but I made it anonymously. The invite. Remember, this is back in the time you have an event. It's a Facebook event. Gen Z, I don't know if you know about this, but that was how it went down. And I was like, let us celebrate and chunder on each other. And I remember then I got called into a meeting with the UCT powers that be. And they're like, you know, it's really disturbing that someone would talk like this. Who would encourage alcohol abuse like this? And I was like, I was the writer. And I was like, and they're like, anyway, so I was the MC. I literally facilitated this event. But then, as was right, the competitors, much like you, like a gladiator, you're a gladiator. Modern day, they said, we summon you to give sacrifice. And so I'm like, listen, you know, like this is ethically the right thing to do. So I went before them all and was like, in honor. You know, it's easy. Like they say, the man in the arena. I'm not going to be the critic. I'm going to be the man in the center. And then they all collectively chanted on me. Yeah. And because of that, look, when or if I have children, bro, no fluids are going to bother me. You know, that was, and I'll tell you something, I don't get sick. Okay,
your immune system has been...
that was like my second adult vaccination, bro.
Jesus.
Oh, but that is something I can watch with joy and pride. Like I'm proud of that.
And they say white people have no culture.
Exactly. White culture on display.
Oh my God. Let's go. I mean,
see. Testimony.
No, they're loving it.
Look at that. He's on the floor. This is just...
Hey, You were handsome.
Right. Can I tell you? I was literally looking at that. Can I tell you? And I was like,
You were handsome.
I'm like, brother,
Boma.
you were like, if only you knew. I had no confidence. Then I'm looking back at that, brother. Did you see the hair?
How do you mean I had no confidence? People are puking on you, my dog. That's
No, but
confidence.
I didn't. If I look like I did now, like if
You'd
I
be
look like I did
problematic.
then, no, and I was single, bro. I would walk into bars. I'm not. I would just sit there and like aura farm, you know. I was like,
yeah.
for a large part of my life, for me to even talk to women, I
Yeah.
had to be like blackout drunk. Okay,
Oh, for
it was
real?
a long journey for me to get confidence, and so I'm like, bruh, what do you do? Well, that's actually the best way to use your look.
Dude, these dudes. Are you still in contact with some of them?
I am with some of them. Yeah, you know, we shared good times. Good times, bruh.
Like, where are they now? Like, are they
Accountants.
Are they accountants?
Yeah,
or
bruh.
like someone's dad?
Those are our leaders of society. I mean, I don't think any of them got into politics. I'll say that much. But those dudes, I mean, they were all, you know, UCT is an academically strong place. They were all UCT students. I'd say many of them were business science, law. You know, I was doing BA, you know. So those dudes
Can
are
you
dead.
shout out one or two of them right now and what?
One or two.
I mean, they're on video. Might as well.
I'm not gonna mention any names, though.
Okay.
Just because you know why? They're like a normal dude. None of them would become public figures. I don't think. So look,
I don't see Jam here.
he used to, I think, spectate, and he did compete.
Oh, for
Kanisa
real?
Jam competed. Kanisa Jam, my brother. Jam was in Kopano residence,
Yeah.
the most Boykie residence. I was in Leo
for real?
Marquardt. Okay. Kopano, they were like, had a lot more kind of the private school, Model C school dudes for whatever reason. Jam was like a Boykie. Jam was a
Boykie.
jock.
But
and
he talks about it in his comedy. Right?
Yeah,
He talks about like
he
Jam was rock and roll.
Bruh, he was, I mean, for me, I never, I don't think I had an addiction. I was never treated to a facility.
Yeah.
But you know, like
5'2".
like 5 to midnight. 5 to midnight. I was very functional. That's it, you know. But
Yeah, Jam is one of those black dudes on the clip
yeah,
where you're like, okay.
he's one of the black dudes who commented because I think in hindsight, you know, as you become aware of things, you're like, dude, that was a very white crowd. Like that was, and I tried to like invite like as many black dudes as I can, but I think it's more just common sense. They were like, what are these whites doing? Like, can you imagine? But then, can you imagine, bro? I also understand the excess and that there's students there, I think, in SFAS who are like really, you know, not getting big salaries or payments from home or whatever it is. And then there's some brat chundering up like 200 rands worth, going ha ha. So I can see in hindsight. My dream was always to make it multicultural. But Jam's. I got actually quite a few comments from when I posted about it. We did a video with Jam posted this year. And I was happy with the diversity of the commenters being like, those were the good days, you know. So there were a lot of my black. It's like one of those. The black guys loved it. No, but there were some black dudes and girls who commented on my video saying like, we love that. But I think realistically that could never sustain. That's like a late 2000s kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, you look at it as a back in the day. You like, this is back in the day UCT. This looks bad, but at least it's not Stellenbosch because it's Stellenbosch that pee on you, right?
Yeah, no, in Stellenbosch, it's like Stellenbosch. It's dark, and the thing is, Stellenbosch they did it in a dungeon, bro. It wasn't. I always believe I'm a big believer in transparency, and I try honestly own every aspect of my life. I think it's a great power because no one's ever going to come up to me and be like, oh my God, you Anton Taylor did that. I'm like, bro, I've already done a video about it, you know. And so, like they say, light cleans everything, you know. So we're gonna chunder in each other. Let's do it on a field, and I think that's the best way to summarize my life. Stellies, it was a darkened dungeon, bro.
I like that shit. Like Stellenbosch is a dungeon. What the fuck is wrong with Stellenbosch stuff? Like I've got this thing where I go, the year hasn't started officially until Stellenbosch gives us a scandal at the beginning of the year.
Bro, so look, I gotta tell you, I once wrote an article criticizing Stellenbosch in my 2010. Or they had just beaten us in the Varsity Cup, and I had a very bad experience there where I think it's Wilgenach, the same res it was shut. I don't know if it's, but the one with the dungeon, right?
I think the producer went to Stellenbosch.
Is that
you can speak. Is that Wilgenach?
Yeah. And is Wilgenach the one where you can't call it Beck Flaky? Do you know about this? Yeah. Okay. So bro.
What's a Beck Flaky?
It's a mouth accordion. Is that correct?
It's a harmonica.
Harmonica.
Oh, okay.
So now we've just lost the rugby. Life kind of sucks. I'm walking back with a guy. I don't want to mention his name. He's a politician's son. Okay. And he's a colored dude. And he goes, Big Flaky. Okay. Now, I know nothing about this outside. Bruh, 50 dudes come out. I'm not lying, bruh, with knob carries. Like, choke. I'm like, they're like, who said this? I'm like, what the bruh, what? Dude. And then they like find the guy and they're like, and bruh, if you call, because I was like, nah, bruh, these guys are not well. I lived in Leomarco. Often they call them tampon towers. Okay. Someone was like, tampon towers. I'm like, UCT sucks. Okay, whatever. Bruh, these oaks, how is it that deep? It's also like calling it harmonica. Bro, I would understand if it was some, like, I don't know, the worst slur.
They take it serious. It's dark,
bro,
as
they
you
tried
say.
to kill. So my mate, he's 2 meters tall. They're like him, and he's bargaining. He runs, bro. He runs, okay? And then they hunt him down, okay? Now, I subsequently heard stories. Bro, they catch you. They you up. There was like a story. They put a guy in a manhole and parked over it, the tire over the manhole for like 2 days or something. Like, bad, bro. So then eventually there was a police car coming. So like I'm waved down the police and I'm like, it's a race attack. It was, I mean, they would have killed whoever it was that said it. But and the police is like, cool, let him go. And they're like, no, to the police until he got out the pepper spray. Bro, so I went back and I wrote then a scathing article about Stellies, bro. I will lay it into them. But it's in the UCT. This is early days of Facebook, bro. But it wasn't even done digitally. It was like someone took the physical copy to Stellenbosch and it exploded. Bro, I'm not lying. Death threats. Max Price, the former vice chancellor, he once said to me, he sent me all the emails he got from staff members at Stellenbosch calling that I'd be suspended. Guys were coming to Tiger in Claremont looking for me. Okay, big mistake, brother. That's my home turf, But you don't want to. I'm undefeated in Tiger, bro. If those of you know.
Snap, Tiger. That Tiger is a level of city where you go like a Tiger that's next to Adult World.
That's it, bro.
That's a Tiger next to Adult World, next to it's above
so Tiger is above a bowling alley.
It's above a bowling alley.
And
then, and then there's another, I forgot the name of the tin roof. And then you go watch the white kids. And there are one black friend at the engine woolies there at 4 a.m. And you feel bad. You're like, this is the level of drunk.
This is rough.
These are the people who make a garage pie famous.
Bruh. And I remember Tin Roof, I was adamant. I'm like, I'm getting married in Tin Roof. I love this place. Bruh, let me describe Tin Roof. You walk in there, and like there's somebody chundas on your shoulder. There's like broken glass on the floor which someone stood on and they're like gushing blood. There are people hooking up. Bro, my immune system. So what I used to do, I'm 18, I don't have money, 19. I used to mind sweep drinks, okay? And like, that's very dangerous too because it can be spiked, right? I was like, bonus, bro. Bonus, bro. Legit. And then there's one night where I think because my whole thing, and I don't want to undermine anyone's experiences of like people who've been victim of being spiked. Yes. But I know a lot of kids.
Happens.
It does happen, but I also know a lot of people who had 20 drinks and then they're like, my drink spiked. And I'm like, was it your 21st or your 22nd drink? And what I do know, and I can say a lot of my mates who got super wasted, their parents are like, what's happening? And then they're like, oh, my drink was spiked. I'm like, brother, just... So I never got spiked.
Because
okay?
that's a dope. That was a dope excuse to the parents.
So
right?
dope. And people,
Like
parents
if
were worried
your
about
parents
it.
didn't know you drink, or they didn't think like you have a problem.
And
You could go home and be like, yo, I'm not like that. My drink was spiked.
And I remember this one friend of mine going, oh, my drink's been spiked 3 times. I'm like, okay. And they like, for me, there was only one time where I think I got spiked. And I just had a complete memory loss and I woke up covered in blood. Yeah, but you live by the sword, you die. But like, no, I don't want to undermine people's thing. But for me, it was, that's how it was. But so Tin Roof used to go in there, and that was, I thought that was the zenith of sin. Yeah. But then Tiger, this is where they trick you, bro. Yeah. You have to wear a collared shirt. You have to wear like smart shoes. So there's Oaks now like bribing the bouncers if they can swap their sneakers. So
you're like ready for the office on top, and then you've
got. And I would wear the most ugly like college
jeans and church shoes.
Yeah,
you can catch all of this on thunder.com.
Yes, the Thunder Files, the Thunder Files. Bro, I look back now and I'm like, dude, how did you survive that without like? It was a day. It was like I would say outside of a war zone, one of the more reckless places that you can be, and the things that happen I'm not going to talk about what I did in the parking lot, but it was and
all of it. And but now you like survive like being the Van Wilder of campus, and many years later, we've discussed this. You quit drinking.
Yeah.
What the hell?
So it wasn't shame. And there's nothing, addiction is a problem.
Because it couldn't be like you were embarrassed because of something that you did. You had done it all.
I'd done it all, bro. No, it was.
How do you arrive at the point where you're like,
So I never, I don't think I ever had a problem, right? Okay. And I was functional, bro. Like my excuse was like, I never missed a day of work, right? Ever. Any project, I never drank. And like, that's often, and what I would do is I'd have like a bender. If I've got like a Monday commitment, like we're filming this, I'd wake up not feeling great, put down 3-4 beers, go do the thing. Just because I believed in the taper method, okay? Yes. So you send it Saturday, Sunday. I mean Friday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday, you have a couple beers. Monday, you have a few for breakfast. Tuesday, like 1 or 2. Then you've got Wednesday to Friday to achieve your life's goals, and then it begins again. So for me, I was... So look, as I say, I was quite a problematic dude. I had like a lot of stuff I had to work out. Look, I've never denied that I grew up in a very privileged environment. Yeah. But like many families, there were issues growing up. My parents were divorced. My mom really struggled with prescription addiction and alcoholism. So I knew that there was some shit going on in my head, and it was almost
eventually you were
going to come out.
At some point you were going to do stand-up comedy.
School, exactly, exactly. And so I started because I was reckless in my first few years and fighting and like really, making very risky things. That was actually like, and I called up a therapist, and he said he's never got a call like that. I was just like, look, I'm either going to end up in jail, dead, or something. I need to sort stuff out. And so I initially, and a lot of people, this I think is a problem with modern society. People want a silver bullet. So I went to the first therapy session, and I'm like, right, what mind exercises do you give me? And then I'm gonna, and he's like, it's not how it works. It's a gradual progression. Okay. And and you just start. So I slowly started working out my issues. Right. And so basically what happened, I think it was 2016 or something like that. I was like, because, the more you start working out, because often people use substances as an escape, as a way of managing pain, as a way of finding confidence. So for me, it wasn't, and that's why it's never been hard to not drink, bro. I can take sniffer beer, it's not hard because basically
Just say sniff a beer.
Not that. No, what I mean is, like, you have.
I'm sorry, guy. Like, you.
I can smell the odors, and it doesn't. Because shame, guys, bro. You have addicts who are like, and they can't be around people who are drinking. For me, it almost like I'd worked out the stuff in my head. Because very often, I think this is the problem. People treat addiction as if it's like that's the problem itself, whereas very often it's actually there's underlying trauma, sadness, whatever it is, and you're just treating yourself. You're medicating yourself with probably an ineffective medication. So for me, I was like, it doesn't make sense. And so I took a month off of boozing, and then I felt so good. I lost weight. My skin, people started complimenting me. I was like, I'm going to push this to 2. Then I did 100 days, bro, of sobriety. I didn't feel anxiety. Okay, I was like, because I used to midweek. For me, the drinking, the worst thing was just I used to call it the Sunday demons, the anxiety, bro. I used to have like nightmares that carte blanche is going to kick open my door and be like, we know what you did this weekend. Like lock me up, bro. And that was and then I was like, nah. I always used to think Derek Watts would walk into my flat, which would be covered in all sorts of booze, paraphernalia, sin. And he's going to go like, oh, this is the worst I've seen. I'm retiring, But so then I just didn't have anxiety. And then I did 100 days. Then the 101st day was mid-December, Cape Town 7th. I was like, right, I'm back. And I partied for 10 days. I call it the 10-day war, okay? Yonking me every day, bro. Yeah. And I woke up on day 10 or day 11, and I was just like, this life is not for me. And I realized, bro, for me, it was more about like my career at that time. There was no Tully's Diary, the Anton Taylor Show. That was 5 years without hearing anything. There was, I hadn't finished my master's degree. And it's funny being Van Wilder, but after a while, it's like, dog, like you need to. And I was like, you can't be a serious person. You can't, if your life's not where you want it to be, you can't be lying on a Monday hungover while your friends are doctors and lawyers and stuff like that. So then I was just like, and I'm very glad that I had those 10 days. I actually wrote a letter to myself. I was like, dog, nothing has made you feel as bummed out as this 10 days. Like, I'd not felt depression, anxiety like that naturally, and not since. So then I was just like, stopped. And then since then, what happens when you stop? And that's actually quite important for people who do stop these substances.
Pretty please, yeah.
You're used to these highs and lows, right? And obviously you take away booze, drugs, whatever, you don't hit those highs, but you also don't hit those lows. But so for a while, life seems a bit boring, right? Because you're used to the crazy target shit. And then what slowly happens is life, just your baseline, which is like, it's like a bit boring. I was like, my life's just going to kind of suck. It just gets more exciting and more fulfilling and day-to-day things. And then, of course, you start accomplishing more, and like I very rapidly, after stopping drinking, I had a crazy run where I was like, Tully's Diary, finished my master's, got a job at Supersport. Like within 6 months, it was like, dude. And then also I was like, because I said, I own it. Like, I used to say stupid things. I used to be obnoxious. I was like, you've got so much going for you. The last thing you want is to drink and then ruin it all, So for me, it just made sense, bro. But I would say it's from the years of work that I did leading up to that was just so easy to just be like, I'm done. Yeah.
I'm thinking there's like some of our viewers that are sitting in a position that you were in at some point, like you're thinking about quitting. By the way, there's nothing wrong with drinking. Have fun. Nothing. I do. It's delicious. But you're sitting there and you're like, yo, I'm thinking about quitting.
Yeah.
What do you say?
So the biggest thing, bro, is shame kills. Okay. So people always used to think, if you humiliate someone enough, they're gonna stop drinking. Bro, the amount of Sundays I woke up and I was like, oh my God, and I hated myself. I couldn't look myself in the mirror, bro. didn't do anything. The worse you feel, and this is what the problem is, that people feel bad about themselves, so then they drink to treat that guilt, and then it. So I would just say, the biggest thing, honestly, is be kind to yourself, right? A lot of people, to go through a day without drinking is like an achievement, And I would just say to work on there's a lot of things that you can do. It's not just the substance, you know what I mean? And look, drinking doesn't work for me. There's nothing worse than I don't call myself sober. I'm not drinking for now. Yeah. I might one day if I want to. I said when I've achieved all my goals. Maybe when I've got an Oscar, I'll go. Yeah. And so I think it's a great thing. Like you do it, jam parties. I'm so glad that I partied, bro. Yeah. I got it out there. I did it. Now I can be like, because for me it was starting to get boring. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's cool initially, but when you're in your 30s, you're like with a group of people and it's like 6 a.m. and, it's like the same old. So I would just say my advice to people would be like, just be kind to yourself, bro. Like, don't feel, because I promise you, hating yourself is not good. And I would start saying, do things that make you feel good. Okay. Yeah. Exercise. Mindfulness is cheap. Okay. So not everyone has money to go speak to someone and do therapy.
The app is free.
Yeah. The app is free.
The mindfulness app is free.
Exactly.
Just download the app and it's 10 minutes a day. Or don't ask me how I know. Don't ask me those things.
Or you just focus on your breath. You close your eyes and you try focus and your mind will run. Bro, that kind of stuff, I found it really helps. And so I think the better you feel about yourself, and the more you can love yourself in a holistic, healthy way, I think the easier it is to let go, because a lot of people get held back by the shame of who they were. And I say, anybody who judges someone for the past, especially dude, you're in pain. So whatever it is. So you drink, you're a kid, you do stupid stuff.
Also, it's not weird to go out with your friends who drink and you're not drinking.
No.
It's really
especially now with non-alcoholic beer. So a big thing when you stop is you want to, and there was nothing when I was, so you want some in your hand, bro.
Oh, snap.
You need some hands. So you feel damn weird. And so I would drink sparkling water and Coke Zero, okay? And then eventually, now, bro, I just have a Heineken Zero. That's my personal, that's what I go for.
And do you hit like 6 of those?
Yeah.
I'm on a more like 12 zeros.
Bro, and it makes me, there's something psychological going on. I have like 2, 3, and I'm like, I feel...
Oh, for real?
So it's breaking the habit. I remember the first time I went to a cricket match sober, I was like, this is hard not having a beer. Because there's like, you've got into that habit of like, I do this. So I think for me, non-alcoholic drinks, look, there's apparently point something in it, but I mean, it's not going to affect you. Bro, that's a great way, I would say.
But that's a great way to jump the system. Just get a 0.
And no one's gonna like, I mean, unless they're a real like loser. And no one ever criticized me for stopping drinking apart from people who had very unhealthy relationships with alcohol and were, I would say, very mentally unhealthy people. My best friends who were heavy alcohol and drug users were like, bruh, of course it's good for you to stop drinking. So if any friend of yours is like, oh, why are you stopping drinking, bro? That's not your friend, bro. Like no one can objectively say, no, you should be out there getting drunk.
But do you like, you're like South Africa's most bankable Boykie impersonator. Are you a Boykie impersonator or are you an actual Boykie?
I'm someone once said I'm a jock who became self-aware. Okay.
Oh, shit.
My thing is that I think that you can love gymming, you can love sports, you can love watching fighting, you can love consensually. I'm very happy. I'm engaged. Obviously, I've been like, but you can be pursue women in a respectful, like good, healthy way. But you can also be conscientious and you can be kind and you can be respectful and aware of people. And I think there's often people, I think sometimes earlier in my life, people thought that because I'm a jock, that means that it must mean that I'm a bully or I'm this or I'm that, you know? So a lot of the videos I do, the person I'm making fun of is myself.
So when you, for example, do a 4-ways Boykie,
yes.
what does it take to go there? Are you being you, or
I just have fun,
or is
bruh.
it someone you know that's
It's a part of me. It's a part of me. It's a part. I would say like that, and that's the joy of acting, bro. You get to play parts of yourself that maybe you don't necessarily want to in real life, or that's not appropriate. But I get to be a Joburg brother, and I get to say, nah, bro, my chain, my china, my chicks, in that order, you know, like glorify violence and drugs and. I mean, it's just so fun,
That's
bro.
fun.
But there's
That's
a part
fun.
of me, and there was a time in my life where I'm like,
Yeah. You play. I mean, in Josie Show, there's Dean Shamley's
Yes.
production. You do like a Joey Boykie.
Yes.
Do you do a Cape Town Boykie as well?
I've tried. I've tried with less.
What's the difference?
Cape Townians are like, I think definitely more like. Well, they're outwardly more gentle. Like they're, I think, a bit more worried about how people think they look. And they're like very worried about the right brands, about being seen, having matcha. And like some of them, like sometimes when I go into Kloof Street, I'm like, are you real people? Like nothing wrong with like, I mean, someone's probably looking at me being like this mother. But I think Cape Townians are more like, they say they're more chilled, but I don't think so. Like, I think Boots are, what I love about Joburg Boots, okay? Friendliest people. Not, honestly, the warmest, not scary people. If you cross them, if you disrespect them, if you maybe look at their girlfriend for longer than 2 seconds, then the problem is, then they'll kill you. You know, like you're gonna get taken to a parking lot, and maybe some bouncers are gonna like, you know, it's gonna end. You know, and you'll be in Emmarentia Dam. But you know, but they're also very transparent. Cape Townians are known for being cliquey. So I love Cape Townians, but they're a bit harder to pin down.
Are you Cape Townian?
I'm Cape Townian.
Through and through.
My spirit, I think, is Joburg. I was born there.
Okay.
And people often say to me, we thought you're from Joburg. I'm not sure if that's a accent thing or an energy. A comedian came up to me and said, no, you've got more of a Joburg pop to you or something. But I grew up, since we lived in Mpumalanga until I was about 3. And then
sorry about that.
I can actually speak Tonga. Shit,
Tonga.
Oh, bro, no, I forgot it all. I literally. Can you?
As a little bit, yeah. But even with Afrikaans, I forgot majority.
Bruh, it was a pity. So then we grew up in Cape Town, lived in the southern suburbs my whole life. So I'm a Cape Townian, yeah.
How does being a conscientious Boykie show up in real life? And I guess I'm trying to lead into your posts online.
Yeah.
You know, with regards to the school that you went to, Bishops.
Well, I think for me, it's very cool when you can see people having different ways of being, right?
Yeah.
And so what I like to think is that maybe there's some young Boykies who go, you know what? Yeah, I love these things, and I think that this dude's a dope guy. You know, I was asked to attend a first team rugby thing, you know, by the boys. So point being, I think I have a rapport and connection with like young men, right?
Yeah.
And so I think some of the older guys, and particularly those guys, don't like me. I think their brains are already wired, but I like saying, bruh, this kind of character, being a Boykie, doesn't have to come with all the negative baggage that it often has. You know, and maybe I think when I left school, I did have that negative, like toxic kind of stuff. So I think that it's cool to show people. I don't have to, because there's often you're presented as a binary. Like, you know, people are like, oh, you know, it's like, it's lame to care about people. Nah, bro, like, and I always maintain, if you're a truly strong man, right? And if we want to, I don't know what masculinity is, but it's about being caring of other people. And particularly, like, one thing I know about myself is I'm incredibly privileged. And I went to a very privileged school. And I believe that part of the justification for the elite private schools we have in South Africa, which are so expensive in a country with such inequality and such poverty, is that you got to then use that you've got to use that power and that privilege that you've been given to contribute to society, bruh. So I like, my favorite thing is getting a message from like a matric Boykie, a first team player.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, yeah, bro, like it's pretty dope, you know. And so I like to think that it shows people that there's a way to hold both these things. You know?
I want to take it back a little bit for our viewers who might not know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're talking about an incident where the old boys, you know, when a school has the old boys. You know, when we go like, your school has the old boys, you know that's going to be problematic. But the old boys have a problem with the school flying a
pride flag for 2 days. Yeah, so I'll give you a recap. So there basically, there has been, I believe, a right-wing old boys committee. Now, the problem is, nothing wrong with being an old boy. I used to be the most, Boykie old boy.
Yeah.
The problem is it's when the guys often who peaked in school, and now Bishops has an old boys committee who are trying to control the school, okay? And they've been bugging the council. And it's their job to just organize bloody reunions. Stay in your corner. They're now trying to make the school, they're doing all sorts. But a quick recap, in summary, the Bishops Old Boys Union sent out a letter to all old boys and said, we have instructed or demanded to the Bishops School Council that they write a flag policy, but they specifically targeted the pride flag. So Bishops flies about 11 flags a year, a dozen flags, and it's like GBV awareness, cancer, World's AIDS Days, okay? And then one of the flags for 2 days, right, or maybe 3, okay, whatever, maybe 3 days, is the pride flag.
Let's give it a week.
Bruh!
Let's give it a week.
You know, I'll tell you what happened when this popped up. And the letter specifically, they didn't say, oh, we have problem. They said, the problem we have, they mentioned the pride flag. So now they're claiming, they're backtracking. They're like, oh, no, we just want a policy. Firstly, you're not involved in running in the school, okay? Organize a drinks reunion.
So the beef is not, to be clear, the beef is not the school. The school is fine.
I love the school.
And
I want to say on camera again, I'm very happy with the school, and I just hear great stories about it. It's like, you know, the worst old boys.
Yeah.
Old, disenfranchised, life hasn't worked out for them. None of these guys are, I'm telling you, running Fortune 500 companies, okay? It's like, I think it's a group of older men, their lives didn't work out as they want. They feel disenfranchised, and they want to create this image of the world in their. And most of these guys, I'm afraid to say, sorry, bro, they studied during apartheid, okay? And I think they really struggle with a world and a country and a society that looks very different to when they were at school. And they're trying to now recreate it. So they specifically targeted the pride thing. And I saw this.
But like,
and then I just basically was like, I want nothing to do with this, because my issue is they signed it in the name of every Bishop's old boy. And I'm telling you, and this is why one of the reasons I believe this, bruh, Bishop's old boys, like a lot of them just don't, they don't care. But point being, they don't have a problem with the pride flag, okay?
Do you have support though?
Massive. Like when I think about the rats and mice that have criticized me, okay, it's like lowest common denominator human. When I think about the people that have reached out to me, and I'm not going to mention names, but I've had very high profile, very successful Bishop's old boys, as well as just South African figures. When I think about the people who are supporting me versus the people who have a problem, but numerically, I know that this doesn't represent the spirit of the school. So that's why I'm like, I would like the committee to hold elections for a new committee. And that is going to be something that we work towards, because this doesn't represent our school. And I truly believe that Bishops is a better place. It just happens to be, you've got a bunch of old, angry men. There's like 1 or 2 young, kind of like Timu, Charlie Kirk kind of incels. But and yeah, I honestly can't tell you something, bro. This is my thing. Guys who are homophobic, I'm telling you, it's because they've got some complicated thoughts about whether or not they would take. Okay.
You also mentioned that this I don't know what it's called, but it's a church school. It's a
Anglican.
a diocesan.
Yeah.
As we know, the Anglicans have always been down with the pride, right?
Bruh, so these idiots,
I imagine that's why people would leave the Catholic Church and go, I mean, let's go
the
Anglican
Anglican Church. I'm speaking with, but out of all particularly the Christian faiths, as far as I know, the Anglican Church is recognized for its acceptance.
Left wing.
Well, they don't, bro. They kind of just like just accept gay people as human. Yeah, they accept gay people as human beings. But down the street in Wales Street, St. George's, which is the Cape Town Archbishop.
That's Desmond Tutu's church.
There's a pride flag 24/7, 365. Okay, so you have these guys who are like, we're an Anglican school, and then it's like, yeah, well, the Anglican Church does it every single day. And then they're like, so these idiots are like trying to appeal to the church whilst ignoring the church's example.
Yes.
And then they start, I've seen some counter arguments like, oh, well, the Anglican Church is weak. Or I'm like, bro, then find a new religion. Go to some far right, but the Anglican Church is about acceptance. And I had a high-profile Christian come up to me the other day, and he said, I'm a Christian, and that tells me, that love thy neighbor, do not, he is who is without sin, cast the first stone.
Yes.
So I'm like, yeah, bro, it's in line with the school. And I think it's what I said initially. It started off in my WhatsApp group, bro. I saw some hate, and I was so angry, bro. And so I just messaged, and I said, firstly, I think, and I'll say this to camera, I think banging a man is one of the most manly things you can do. And secondly, I was like, Bishop's boys and all boys schools have a long history of guys hooking up with each other behind the cricket sheds in the showers. And I said, bro, we all know. We all know this has been going on for years. I said we should hang that pride flag above our entrance, to be honest.
Do you think it's a culture of all boys schools or privileged schools or multiracial schools that it comes with like some toxicity?
Oh, 100%, bro.
Right, like
100%, dude.
Yeah.
There's like the most toxic people. And like, look, the Bishops I don't know if its motto still is, but it inspires individuals and it creates some remarkable people. Yeah. But when it creates a and
listen, my vibe is
okay. When it creates an unpleasant person, it
makes the best.
It makes the most unpleasant person, the most bitter person, the most bigoted person.
Do you know, I went to an Afrikaans high school. It was cheap as hell. It was government high school. We were the first batch. And it's not, I think we all came out of there with some level of asshole.
Yeah.
Right? Like
100%.
You know what I mean? Like you go to LO and then you're like, you come there with this chip. Like I think it's built in the schools.
Yeah.
And then you go, what do we do to break that thing down? Like I think like the racism, the toxic masculinity, that's built at the schools in the gym class.
It's bad, bro. That's why the whole thing is, people, because now these idiots have been like, you're bringing the school into disrepute, bro. Yeah. Schools, they have a thing where they sweep things under the carpet, bro. Guys from my year and my generation, and I know guys, the homophobia was horrendous. Yeah. Okay, we had teachers who were known creeps, but the school doesn't want to issue. Okay, the racism, bruh.
Yeah.
Bruh, I don't know where it is now, but it's built into the schools. And I don't know if it
Yeah.
comes from the parents. I remember there was an incident where there was a teacher who kept on calling she had 2 or 3 students of color, okay, in her class.
Damn.
And she kept on calling them by the wrong names for like the entire year. It was and you go, how do you fix someone like that? And I'm afraid to say there needs to be a generational shift, in my opinion.
Yes.
You know, and I think if you work in a South African school, you need to know how to pronounce South African names.
Also, it's difficult for the kids because you're young. You don't know what the hell is going on.
Exactly.
Right? Like when you're young, you don't know what the hell is going on, and you don't want to live with the thing of being targeted by the teachers.
And I think the problem is kindness is seen as weakness. Okay, that's the big problem. It's not, and that's why I hope that young oaks see me maybe and go, oh, it's cool to be a cool dude, if I can, you know, cool, whatever,
Yes.
a boychi. Let's say maybe that's a better way to say it. It's cool to be a boychi, but it's cool to then look after the small guy and not bully. Because that's what this issue is. It's about bullying a minority that I think we do still owe a sign of respect and recognition and safety to in today's world.
Quick one. Is there space for single-sex schools in 2026? I'm thinking, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm coming from, is it necessary? Like,
It's a very good question. Look, I won't lie. I didn't know how to talk to girls for the first couple of years after leaving school. I didn't know how to just be not weird with them, because only times I saw girls were at house parties, and then it's all about hooking up. So you don't learn to just be chilled, right?
Yes.
I would imagine that there's probably some quite interesting studies about what academic results are done, because I've heard that sometimes there can be like mixed classrooms can affect academic results or performance. I have no idea.
Yes.
I think there is a place, something I enjoyed. I had terrible acne at school. I had braces for a period. And so it was very nice not worrying about what I looked like, and not worrying about that aspect of girls. I don't know if I would have been distracted. I think there is a place for them, but I think there really needs to be a strong focus. And I do believe the headmaster of Bishops has made this a priority of molding those young men in the right direction. You know, that's the thing, in that I think your question is a very good one. And it's like, yeah, if we're accepting it, that's fine. But we need to then be very active in how we make sure that these young men don't become toxic monsters.
Like, as a conscientious boy, are you more white guy vibes? Do you yourself more leaning towards, in comparison, Bears No Dear, Carl Niehaus, or Rolf Meyer? I'll give you Jay something from Mikasa as well.
I'm not claiming Jay something. He speaks Zulu, right? I think. So, I can speak a bit of Xhosa. Jay something is more an entertainer. I'm trying to think. You know what? There's a big problem in South Africa. White representation, bro. We have some mediocre whites.
You don't have.
Outside of rugby, bro, like we have some bottom of the barrel whites.
I saw you do like
mediocre
the best whites.
Yeah.
You and Jem did like the best white.
Bro, we got Johnny Clegg. Okay, he's long gone. Bro, like white.
You ended up going with Helen Ziller at some point. I forgot.
No. I said she's the most notable. And I said on the map white politician. It wasn't like best. You know, I think during the part. Look, she apparently has some great apartheid credentials, but it was more like she's had the biggest effect, I think, in democratic South Africa. Bro, but when you see some of the mediocre white men, that's the thing. That is the problem, bro. The guys we often see these, and they're often conservative white men, and they're preaching, and they're like saying this, and I'm like, bro, this is not who we are. You know, like the right-wing white podcaster bros in South Africa. And then I get embarrassed, bruh. There was a prominent white figure who's often been just problematic, and he was cancelled. And I was.
Why are you talking about John Steenhuisen?
No,
If you're gonna talk about Steenhuisen, call him out by his name.
I don't think he's problematic. I know he's
John's
left
cool.
the job. Yeah, I think he's annoying. But
we can mess with John because John's cool.
yeah, I've heard his Jam says he's quite a dope dude. So this dude got cancelled, and I was at a funeral, of a black school friend, and I was the only white dude. And I was chatting, and I was like, guys, you need to understand, he doesn't represent us. And then they were like, well, who does? Who does? Like, who's the voice? Who is the conscientious voice of white South Africa, bro? And I'm like, look, we got some dope rugby players, the Springboks, but I don't know if there's. And then we got like
Christopher Pampas and Jordan.
Yeah.
It's weird that the only dudes I'm coming up with is DA
guys.
So you're doing a very cool comedy tour with Jam.
Yes, bro. It's been
comics
one of the best
comedians of national unity. That is dope.
Bro, it's been the greatest intervention of my life. Jam got me into it. I tried comedy 13 years ago. I bombed, which is part of doing comedy.
It's part of the thing.
I was like, I'm not strong enough for it. And because of Jam, I've had a very soft launch into comedy in terms of a lot of people have to struggle for years. Our first show sold out in a week.
Golisi showed up at your show. I mean,
he blessed us.
I mean, it's a dream.
Bruh, and it couldn't, and I truly think it is a celebration of South African comedy, you know. Right. So Jam and I perform, but then we have guests, you know. Okay. So I think we had a colored Muslim South African, we had a Congolese South African.
Is he still in the country?
Yes, he is.
We gotta check. He's illegal. We gotta check. Is he taking other comics' jobs? What is going on?
I know you got in some trouble recently.
Shout out Prince Mbaya. Was it Prince Mbaya or was it?
It was.
Was it Prince Mbaya? I think it was.
It was Nathan Kalala, but Prince was also on the mic.
I don't know. We messed with Prince Mbaya.
No, I don't. I saw how angry that guy got with you in that viral clip where he was spitting and foaming.
Oh yeah. Shout out that guy. I mean, my man is clearly passionate.
He's not lacking passion. He might be lacking a few other things, but so we're on this comedy tour, and we had a closer host, and so it was a real representation of South Africa. You know, and I was really happy about how diverse our crowd was. Yes. And so we actually on Sunday, the 1st of August. Not sure when this will come out. On Saturday, the 1st of August, we're performing in Joburg, Capital on the Park in Santon.
Beautiful room.
Bruh, it's
gorgeous
like, room. I was so proud. That was one of the best nights of my life, bruh. And I was so proud of our, I left that being like our country, bruh. And humor is the best tool. And I actually said, because obviously when Sia blessed us, I said to my fiance, I was like, look, I've heard that having children is the best day of your life. So that means that there's still something in my life that will be better than this. And she was like, I don't think anything will compare to Sia.
Also, you've got a tour. Like, I want to get to your tour before we wrap up. You've got a tour. What are the dates? I know you've got London.
Yeah, so I know you guys have a big audience. So thank you for giving me the time. So it's Joburg 1st of August. Then we're going to the United Kingdom. So we're going London. I think it's 24th, 25th of September, and then 26th we're doing Dublin. Right. So for those South Africans in Europe and the UK, please pull through. It's going to be very, very fun. We're already 20% sold out for both of our London nights, so you want to get going. And then in 25th and 26th, I think, of November, we're performing back in Cape Town at the Hope and Color Theatre.
I'm on that.
I hope so.
I think I'm on.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah, it's dope. Shout out, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. It's been the most rewarding and fulfilling venture that I've done in a long time. Yeah.
Big respect. This was a dope interview. Thank you for coming.
So much, and it's a good thing there was a time limit because I could have spoken for 6 hours.
We could have gone on.
We had fun, and I want to give you a shout out for letting me relive those party days.
Big respect.
And to any right wing podcasters, don't take it too deep. I was just feeling touched because you guys have been cooking me for the past 2 weeks. But no, I just want to say thank you to the work you guys do. It's very important, right? Very, very important.
Shout
And to
out.
be in this room with this team and to be even aligned and welcomed by somebody in a group that I respect so much is honestly, that's like I was saying, when I look at the people who are in my corner, it sustains me and gives me great strength. So thank you for almost endorsing me, bro.
Yeah, shout out, friend of the show, Anton Taylor. We've worked together. We've
Many
done
times,
stuff with Magamba TV on Climate. We've done a short thing after you got raided. We didn't even get to where you got raided by the National Intelligence or something. We'll have you again.
I hope so.
Shout out. All love, Anton Taylor. Comrades.